You talked about reparenting in one of your videos. So how can someone who's had a traumatic childhood reparent themselves?
That's a great question. It really starts with realizing that you are taking care of yourself now. What parents do is they take care of us
Mhm.
or they don't take care of us. And then we end up getting to a place where we need to reparent ourselves. But something that's important to know is often when people hear reparent, they think, oh, I have to have a bad relationship with my parents, or my parents had to have done a terrible job. And that's not always the case. Reparenting is realizing that now you are responsible for taking care of yourself, and you should explore how you actually do that. So, for example, my mom never taught me how to brush my teeth ever. And I had horrible oral hygiene for a really long time until I realized that the only reason that I'm not taking care of my teeth the way that I need to is because my mother did not teach me to take care of my teeth, or did not take care of mine also. So I had to make the conscious choice to reparent that aspect of my understanding of how I respect and take care of myself. And I have had to work on it for a really long time. And so the thing is like, there were lots of other difficult situations in my childhood, but let's say somebody that had a great childhood, but just their parents never taught them oral hygiene, so you didn't have a traumatic childhood, but you need to relearn and reteach yourself how to take care of yourself. And another example could be how you perceive money. So when I was growing up, my mom just spent money like no other, but she didn't have any of it. And so we were in a lot of financial distress, moved often, lived with my grandparents often. And I actually did the opposite. I came out being obsessed with money in terms of saving it and needing to be stable constantly all the time, overworking, like always going above and beyond, because I was afraid of being in a similar situation that I found myself in with my mother. And I needed to reparent that part of myself a little bit too. And that was just a belief system. That was just a perspective and an understanding of this aspect of life. And I had to like release myself and be like, I need to calm down a little, like I'm over parenting myself right now when it comes to finances, and I should give myself some more leeway and some more rest. So it's really just about, again, how you absorb the world, how you perceive it, and how you perceive yourself, and giving yourself permission to be the ruler of your own behaviors, and detach if you need to from whatever is in your unconscious from before you were making choices yourself.
I was thinking, if you're looking at the childhood all the time, you can actually blame our parents as well, rather than being accountable for your current situation. That can happen.
Oh, completely. That's such a
Mm.
thing. I feel like, and since I've been on social media as a therapist, I was following around 1,500 people, and most of them were therapists. And I would be scrolling through my feed, and I was getting so overwhelmed by just the constant reminders of childhood trauma. And if this was in your childhood, then you may have this. And I unfollowed like 1,100 people. I was just like, I can't have so much of this in my feed, the constant reminders, because while that is true, that aspects of your childhood can affect your adulthood, there's so much more to it, just like you said. But if we're constantly reminded and are only shown or are only talked to about our childhood, then it takes away personal responsibility and accountability. It also takes away that somebody may have had a great childhood, but a horrible romantic relationship situation, and they could also end up with anxiety or end up with jealousy or isolation or whatever. And so we really discount all of the potential variables by just going in like something that's the most trendy, or like, everybody has a childhood, so if I talk about childhood, then everybody can relate to it. So I totally get what you're saying when you say that.
This summer, I went to this incredible retreat in the south of France with this amazing garden, and one of the text on the website said, "Imagine Tom's Midnight Garden," which is a very famous like cartoon or a book, and I used to watch as a child. It's a very incredible series where this guy wakes up in the middle of the night and he goes into this garden, and I remembered it with very fond memories. Then I went to kind of look at it on YouTube, and it was nothing like how I remembered that. The actor was different, the garden was different, and even some of the characters were. It's incredible how our memory can not even be correct. We can have distorted memories as well, so we're giving a lot of power to the past.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think another, like one really common thing is, oh, I must have had a traumatic childhood because I don't remember it.
Mm.
And it's like, no, that's how memory works. Like memory works where over time, new memories replace old memories, and eventually memories decay in general. So I think when we tell people, or like when you're constantly seeing not remembering your childhood, it could mean that you have trauma and it's constant and constant. We're really discounting also that like that's just how the brain works too, you know? And so we may be like just, yeah, having a lot of people diagnose themselves when their brains are working normal.